webinar diver series held by OSEANIK FPIK University, Indonesia. Let me give a brief introduction of myself. My name is Morina Zahra. I am part of OSEANIK and will accompany and guide you all for today's activity as the Master of Ceremony. I believe some people in this room come from various areas and are surely excited for today. So please show me some excitement by telling us where you guys from in the comment section. All right. As some of you might already know and understand what the topic will be about, the fourth volume of Diveries will be discussing marine megafauna and underwater cinematography for a better marine biology world. Next. And for those who are not familiar with OSEANIK, OSEANIK is a student diving club by the Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science from FPIK University, which concerns learning and practicing recreational and scientific diving. All right, next. And for the Diveries itself, it is a program consisting of 4 volumes and held by OSEANIK every 2 months in this year, which provides extensive discussion about things related to the profession as a diver, especially scientific. The last 3 volumes were attended by many participants from the different areas. As you guys can see on the screen, the first volume was attended by 121 participants, the second one was 136 participants, and the third one was 393 participants. And there will be 2 special guest speakers for today's webinar. The first speaker will be Mr. Darmawan Ahmad, or usually called Garonk, as a shark behavior scientist from Shark Diving Indonesia, and Jacinta Shackleton as a marine biologist from University of the Sunshine Coast as our second speaker. And also a great moderator for leading the discussion further, Janis Argeswara, as a project leader of Megafauna Foundation. This program has 5 event goals. They are education, charity, experience, adaptation, and pioneer. Therefore, this program is expected to be able to help many people, so they will be more educated and enlightened. All right, OSEANIK collaborates with 2 institutions. They are Biologist Indonesia and Megafauna Foundation for gathering donation to help them in creating and maintaining a better Indonesian marine ecosystem. Okay, next. And at the end of this event, there will be door prizes for the participants with the rules shown on the screen. The door prizes will be a sarung and t-shirt from Aquamarine Diving Bali, and then there will be a t-shirt from Shark Diving Indonesia and tote bag from OSEANIK UNPAD. As you guys can see, the door prizes rules, you have to, right? As you guys can see on the screen, the rules is there are 2 rules to get the door prize. To win the door prize, the first one is you have to share the excitement of the today's webinar through your Instagram stories. Then don't forget to mention 3 accounts. The first one is at OSEANIK, the second one is at Shark Diving Indonesia, and the third one is Jacinta Shackleton. And for participants who give a great or best question and discussions, will be able to have a chance to win door prize too. All right, thank you. And next, to begin with our today's activity, let's hear an opening speech from our Vice Dean of Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science, FPIK University, Mrs. Rita Rostika. Hello, Mrs. Rita. Are you connected with us? All right.
Yes,
How are you, Mrs.?
Yes, I'm fine today. But I'm sorry, I'm on the way to Cirebon City.
All right. All right, Mrs. Maybe you can directly give an opening speech. The time is
Okay,
yours.
thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The the honorable speakers at the webinar day for series, Dr. Simon Pierce and Jacinta Shackleton. Thank you for being willing to attend and share your knowledge with students who were present at the event held by the Fisheries and Marine Diving Organization or OSEANIK Universitas Pajajaran today with the topic of marine megafauna and underwater cinematography for better marine biology world. Today is a happy day for me and hopefully for the you too, yeah, because today we will get we will get enlightenment from two extraordinary speakers who will share knowledge about marine megafauna and underwater cinematography for a better marine biology world. There are three important points here that are crucial to discuss. The first is marine megafauna. Marine megafauna is some of the ocean's most iconic large creatures. Yeah? Sea turtles, manatees, dolphin, seal, and shark. While we typically don't associate this animal with coastal wetland, the studies show that these habits process. Point two is a marine biology word. We know that fisheries and marine resources are one type of limited natural source. Due to the increasing number of uses by human, sustainable management is needed. Therefore, knowledge of the marine biology world is increasingly needed along with the technological advances to utilize that type of resources. Our ocean are very rich in various types of fauna, so it takes a wise marine biology work. The third point is underwater cinematography. Underwater photography is the process of taking photograph while underwater. It is usually done with scuba diving, but can be done while diving on surface supply, snorkeling, swimming from a submersible or remote operated underwater vehicle, or automate cameras lowered from the surface. Underwater photography can be categorized as an art and a method for recording data. Successfully underwater imaging is usually done with specialized equipment and technique. Luckily, the ladies and gentlemen who were present were able to follow these two presenter because they were able to learn in advance how the technique of underwater photography with use complicated technique and use special equipment to talk once again to talk on 5 millions of messages to many people. What's the purpose? What the purpose? Of course, for a better marine biology work. Yeah. Our faculty has just held a short diving training in Pangandaran, the aim of which is to prepare undergraduate candidates who have a little knowledge of the world of diving related to the need for human resources who can carry out Vietnamese spiny lobster culture, where the cage is submerged about 9 meters below the surface seawater. This condition makes the lobster they are kept unaffected by unstable water quality condition due to typhoon or increase of rainwater, etc. We know that spiny lobster are sensitive animal, so they are better culture at certain depth underwater, but the risk is the aquaculturists must have diving skill to make observation. Diving is not only intended for recreation, but also lobster culture to obtain better lobster production. At the end of this piece, once again, I'd like to thank to the extraordinary speaker who sincerely share their knowledge with all of us. Thanks also the participant and of course to the committee who made this event run. Thank you very much. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you so much, Mrs. Rita, for giving us such an insightful speech. All right, for next, we have the Alisa Nadira to also give an opening speech as a chief of OSEANIK UNPAD. Hello, Alisa.
Hello, Maureen.
Hello, Teh. How are you, Teh?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. All right, without further ado, I will let you to give an opening speech. The time is yours.
Thank you, Maureen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning from Indonesia, everyone. My name is Alisa as the head of OSEANIK. First of all, I would like to thank the Honorable, the Vice Dean of Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science UNPAD, Mrs. Rita, the advisory lecturer from OSEANIK, Mr. Noir, the presenters of this webinar, namely Mr. Darmawan and Ms. Jacinta, and lastly, the participants of the webinar Diveries Forum 4 and also all members of OSEANIK who has taken the time to attend this webinar. Praise and gratitude to the presence of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for His mercy and blessings on all of us, so that today we can meet online to take part in the webinar Diveries Forum 4 hosted by OSEANIK. It is a great pleasure for me to welcome to the participants webinar Diveries Forum 4. Thank you for joining us in this webinar with the theme of Marine Megafauna and Underwater Cinematography for Better Marine Biology World, which aims to educate regarding the profession as a diver. As the head of OSEANIK, would like to say a big thank you to all those who have supported this event, especially to all sponsors or media partners and the committee. Maybe that's all I could say today. Sorry if there are words that are not pleasing. I hope this webinar can bring many benefits to all of the participants. Once again, welcome and thank you very much to attending this webinar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Alisa, for the speech. And that was only the beginning of our today agenda. Next, it's a pleasure to me to finally introduce you all to our beautiful moderator, Janis. All right, as you guys can see on the screen, Janis is a project leader at Marine Megafauna Foundation. She is a Bachelor of Marine Science from Udayana University, Bali, Indonesia. She is a research assistant and mentor productive ecology project leader at Marine Megafauna Foundation at Southeast Asia, Bali, Indonesia. She is also a delegate for our Ocean Youth Leadership Summit. And there's so many about her that you can read or you can see on the screen. All right, maybe I would like to greet Janis. Hello, Kak Janis.
Hi,
Hello, Kak Janis. How are you, Kak?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Hi, Maureen.
Hi, Kak. Okay. Maybe it's such an honor for me to have these short conversations with you because we can make people in this room wait any longer. And thank you, Kat, for helping us becoming a moderator for the upcoming discussion. So without further ado, the time is yours, Kat.
Okay. Thank you. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the International Webinar Diveries Volume 4. We're going to talk about marine megafauna and underwater cinematography for a better marine biology world. Today, before we start, I am going to, before we start, I need to introduce myself. So again, like what Maureen says, I am a project leader at the Marine Megafauna Foundation, specifically in Indonesia, and I am based in Bali. I've been here for 2 years now. And I really love marine megafauna, so it's really an honor for me to be moderating this talk with such great guest speakers today. So now I am going to introduce our first speaker, which is Cak Garonk. Thank you. So Cak Garonk, as you can see, he has a lot of experience. One of them being as a pioneer of shark conservation diver in tourism industries in Indonesia, which is really, really cool. He's the first Indonesian to achieve the PADI aware shark conservation diving instructor. He has a lot of experience with safety experts experience, where he is also a lecturer in the Process of Safety Master's Program at the University Technology Petronas. And in addition, he has submitted more than 25 technical papers to national and international journals and symposiums, which is really, really cool. I'm really excited to hear what his presentation is about. So without further ado, I will give the space to Cak Garonk.
Thank you, Janis. Apa kabar?
Baik.
Okay. Regarding to this event, it's already started, or just we waiting for some moment, or what? Only introduce?
I think we can start already, and hopefully more people will come, because we are also live on YouTube. So I think some people would watch from YouTube as well. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. So can I just share my presentation that I just made last night?
Yes, sure. Maybe the MC can give Cak Garonk the ability to share.
Okay, let me share my screen here. I'm sorry. Voila. Okay. So I would like to present some slides, maybe not too much, but I will present this just for this webinar. This is to understand that we are living in the center of population of world shark. So sadly, we are Indonesian, just knowledgeable for outset Indonesian, of course, as the #1 country that catch the shark in the world. They estimate that Indonesia is contribute between 12% to 15% of all shark catches in the world. So this is a huge number of shark catches in Indonesia. So rather than we are every day, what do you call it, sinking in the atmosphere of sadness, I would like to introduce some other perception or some other view that we are also has so much opportunity compared to other part of the world by living in the center of population of world shark, of course. So this is the presentation that I just made this for. So already acknowledged by introduced by Janis. Thank you. So actually I'm a chemical engineering. I graduated from ITB, Institut Teknologi Bandung, in 1999, just 22 years ago. And regarding to the love to the shark, I got the inspiration from my surrounding, of course, my wife, my friends, and my experience in diving just dragged me to the love of shark. So this is the one that I got from my experience. So I would like to skip to the next one. So time is flies, does it? Yeah. The science says that time really does seem to fly when we get older. So why it should be like that? So when we are 10 years, for example, we feel that 1 year experience is like 10% of our life. So when we get older, say like me, just about to reach 50 years. So 1 year meaning that's only 2% of my life. So it is become shortened. The time became shortened and become fast. So that's the relativity of time. As we know that we have the theory of relativity just a century ago, almost a century ago. So this is the other phase of the time scientists. I think this one is one of the biggest scientists of time at the time is John McTaggart. Yeah, John McTaggart and his wife Alice McTaggart just concept the time that in his concept, the time either is past, present, or future, it actually is equally real. It means that we can travel to the past, travel to the future at the same time. This is the huge theory of time at that time before Einstein give the theory of relativity. So this is the huge difference. Why we trap it here? Because we have past, because we have future, something like that. So this is the at that time, at that era of the John McTaggart postulate his theory, this is really shocking at that time. So, but now maybe it's not shocking anymore because we already have the theory relativity. So John Ehrman from MIT said that what John Taggart have said, if he already had read the theory of relativity, maybe it will change the theory as well. So this is us. We always trap in past, which is we have the sadness of the shark catchers, we have the sadness of the global warming, we have the sadness of the deterioration of our environment. But at the same time, we heard that news. We already have dreams. We already have assumption to the future that we can change this. We can give Earth some moment, give Earth some break, something like that at the same time. So the B theory of time, I think this is very actual for the conservationists, that soon you have heard the sad news about everything, about the environment. At the same time, you have to make a dream, make a realization, make something works to do something like that. So I relate this B theory of time with what our activity here, because it is very important. We cannot always we cannot always think about past. We should have perception of the present and assumption of the future, dreaming about the future, do something about the future at the same time. So this is the objective of my presentation is this. So I eager you, young generation, of course, the student is young generation, to do articulate the theory, a B theory of time from McTaggart, this one. So time trapping. We may trap in the past that we know that more than 1,000 years ago, our ancestors already interact with shark. I visit maybe more than 20 temples in Java, and I always collect the photographs of shark in all of the temples. The temple is built more than 1,000 years. For example, Borobudur is almost 1,300 years ago, and I found that there are a lot of shark creatures etched in the temple. Also, the most enchanting one is in the Surawana, Candi Surawana. Candi Surawana, there are big creatures, shark-like creatures, because they have dorsal fin, they have pectoral also, first pectoral, second pectoral they have, and also they have the gills. There are some gills here. It's most likely it is shark. So this is in Candi Surawana. Our ancestors already have the arts of shark, meaning arts is articulate of their life. Arts is product of culture, meaning that they already embrace the shark life in day-to-day lives at that time, of course. So they will they have this, all of this in our temples. We young generation should know about that. We just don't know the shark just because of the Child's film like this. Yeah, of course, what Peter Benchley proposed to the world, maybe it's not the aggressiveness of the shark. Maybe it's not because of the what you call it, the gruesome culture or the gruesome picture of the shark. But soon, immediately, Peter Benchley proposed to us that this is the creature we have in the earth. This is the creature that we need to conserve in the earth, something like that. We should thinking about not about the sad part, not about the terrifying part. At the same time, we need to think about what can we do with these creatures. Actually, maybe some of you know, some of you didn't know that there are one species of shark named after the Peter Benchley, Edmopterus benchley, ninja lantern shark. So this is the what you call it, the science appreciation for Peter Benchley. Apart from their gruesome picture, the terrifying picture that always haunt us as a conservationist.
Garonk, are you still there?
Mati Om Darmawan.
Oh, okay. He's there.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Are you with me? Okay, thank you. So, intrinsic value of the shark is this. They have also create so many art, so many painting at that time. This is the Javanese and Wonder Shark. Maybe we don't know about this, but the Western, as here by the, I think this is English painter. English painters always have this painting. This painting came from the 19th century. Could you imagine? Since the 19th century, the shark is already interact with the Western and also, of course, with the Indonesian here. So we have the intrinsic value of the shark. Apart from the conservation, apart from the economy, apart from the interaction from us with shark or something like that, they have also the intrinsic value, which is art, one of it. Okay, the other one here we can have here the past, present, or future of the shark are equally real if we convey the message from the B theory. Maybe because we saw here Boris Worm writing in the paper in 2013 that he has a curve here that until 2000 the shark catch is achieve its peaks here, and then slowly or gradually it decrease again. So hopefully in this year it become like maybe 600,000 or less than that. So we hope that the dynamic of the shark catches in it can be controlled from now. So this is our hope, of course. Everyone should have dreams, should have hopes. So this thing is real now. So the shark catching is decreasing. I don't know. Some factor is contributed by the campaign, of course, shark fin campaign. In early of 2000 when the basketball of China, Yang Ming, also Jackie Chan and some other campaigner in China just have a campaign of no shark fin at that time. So I hope that this will growing now and just keep up your work, something like that. So the conservationists can stay together with us in alliance of the shark defender in the world, something like that. What happens if the shark is declined? There are many theories, of course, but some of them that I believe is reasonable, has a good argument on it, is the Haythouse in 2007. He has shark data of shark catches in the North Atlantic or shark abundant in North Atlantic compared to the ray and the what you call it, the cell, yeah, some here, some showed here. With the decreasing of the shark, of course, there are mesopredator is increasing. Yeah, this is a mesopredator increasing, and the herbivore, we call it, is because of the increasing of mesopredator, they decreasing. So this is the relation of the shark and the habitat and environment. We show here that when the shark is decreasing, there are cascading effects that will affect all of our environment. One of it is the cells here, and also it's not written here, but I will introduce you later. And also Acevedo Guterres in 2002 say that if there are many sharks in that area, there are a very what you call it, very less dolphin stay in that area. So this is their relation. If there are many sharks, there are not so many dolphins in that area. In reverse, if there are so many dolphins, it's meaning that there are not so many sharks. So they may not living together in that same place, in the same place. Yeah, this is from Acevedo Guterres and Roth in 2010. They have we call it food network here in marine, of course. So we have shark as an apex predator. Some shark is not apex predator. Some shark is mesopredator, of course. And they have interact each other here as per Roth. And our research in Maluku Utara in Morotai show that the interaction between shark or carnivore, we call it here, is carnivore and predator. Carnivore is mesopredator and predator is shark at that time. So they have a relation, very close relation with the R of 0.88. It means close to 0.9, which is considered as a very strong relation, something like that. This is from the North Maluku data. So shark also have relation with the herbivore as well. Yeah, shark also have relation with the, albeit is not as big with the carnivore, but they have relation with herbivore. When I compare the data of tuna catch in Morotai versus shark sighting, I have some data here that this is a tuna catch in kilogram. The more tuna catch, the more shark is sighting at this in Maluku, in Morotai. So there are relations. With the very healthy environment, like tuna catching is growing, something like that, we can sometimes relate that one. There are a possibility that we can see more shark. If the tuna catching deplete, maybe the possibility to see more shark is also decreasing, something like that. This is data from Morotai. I have correlate that data with the data of sighting of shark in shark diving Indonesia. So regarding the economic, other than sadness, we have also the bright side of living in the center of population of the shark in the world, that we are number 4 country in the world, ranked 4th country in the world as per shark diving economical value. So our country right now is about 49 million. Recently put to have also the other research that show that it's about 70 something million USD per year. So the number is quite close, because my research is up to 2015, but Iksan and Putu research is in 2018. So there are increasing right now of the shark diving economy value in Indonesia. So we have a bright side as well, apart from the label of the country that catching the most shark in the world, but we also has rank 4 right now for shark diving economy. So this is the bright side. The next one is the global evolution of shark sanctuary. We have a data that the shark that can travel 1,000 kilometers. So rather than shark sanctuary is confined in the small area, right now is growing concern to make it bigger interrelation with other countries. So we call the sharing shark sanctuary. Meaning like that. So Indonesia itself has a lot of area of the shark sanctuary. The biggest one is in the Raja Ampat right now, and Morotai just got the shark sanctuary status at 2020. So this is the good side or bright side of the shark environment right now. So also we have a growing diver all around the world. We can show here the darker the picture here, showing that it is the most populated diver in the world, something like that. Indonesia is also the over 30,000 shark dive. So Indonesia is almost considered as the biggest hotspot, almost the hotspot of the shark diving in the world. Apart from America, also Maldives, and here in French Polynesia. So we have a bright side as well in terms of economy. This is the challenge for shark diving. Apart from the bright side, also we have a challenge. Of course, we have animal welfare. Don't touch the shark. Don't interact with the animal. Don't give food to the animal, and any other concerns. Because when we get the wealth, we need to think about the other creature wealth as well. So there are animal welfare concerns. Also the fitness. The business meaning that if we're feeding the shark, how much we feed. Yeah, it is make them fitness or not, something like that. Also public safety. Yeah, public safety. Is there attacking us, something like that. And also ecological interaction as well. Yeah, because the more diver come to the area, the more interaction with the nature, the more risk that they will also impact the coral reef habitat or something like that. So we need to confine all of this message from the scientists to our what do you call it? Our business, something like that. So this is the growing concern. The next one is the relational value. Relational value is mean that if we have interaction with the shark, if we have a common feeling about the shark, to conserve the shark, to take a part in the conservation activity, maybe it's because of two way of thinking here. We can call it this one. One of them is value, belief, and norm. Because of value, because of belief, because of norm, we take part in the shark conservation activity. Other than that, is maybe because of driving is the emotional affinity. Emotional affinity can be taken from the experience or engagement, something like that. So both of two way, this one is a positive way, but we need to learn more. Not only just using your emotion, not only just use your sentiment. Yeah, we need to use
holistically learning, sir.
Sorry.
I mean, maybe holistic.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. Next,
We can.
maybe later is. Yeah, maybe later if you want to asking something, not this part, maybe after this presentation. Okay, thank you. So also there are three biggest issue in the shark science, shark as a science from the practice to from a relational value. So there are part of economic, part of intrinsic, and part of relational. Part of economics meaning that we have to have economic value from the activity, because if they don't have economic value, the impact will not be big, of course. And also have intrinsic value. Some people looking for calmness, looking for comfortability when they meet with the shark, looking for the beauty when they meet with the shark, something like that. And the last one is relational. We need to think about the relational between diver and shark underwater, of course. Is there safety or not? If they are have a fitness concern of not with the shark, something like that. So this is a growing knowledge right now that we need to do something, or just making a corny movie here, watching a corny movie every day, Netflix or what. You have to choose. You have to choose here. Take your activity, go to sea, do some research, or just enjoy the movie, something like that. So this is yours now, the young generation student. So that's all my presentation. I give back to Miss Janis. Thank you for the chance here.
Okay, thank you, Cak Garonk, for the presentation. It's really insightful to learn about sharks from way back. I just knew that we had sharks on our candi on the temples. That's actually really, really cool. Okay, so for our questions, we're going to have it by the end of the presentation from our second speaker. But if anybody has some questions, you can send it on a private chat to the operator, and then we will give the questions at the end of the presentation. So our second speaker, Jacinta, are you here?
Hi, yes, just give me 1 second, sorry.
Okay. Actually, I think I'm going to can the operator give me the PowerPoint slide of Jacinta so I can introduce who Jacinta is. I'm pretty sure everyone kind of know who Jacinta is already. Okay. So our second speaker is Jacinta Shackleton. She is a marine biologist at the University of the Sunshine Coast, and she is a Bachelor of Marine Biology in 2013. She volunteered at Wildlife Park in 2017, worked at Lady Elliot in 2018, and did her honors in 2021. Started her honors in 2021, I assume. Yeah. Cool. So I'm just going to give the screen to you right now, Jacinta.
Awesome. Yeah, so hi everyone, just to introduce myself a little bit. I'm currently in Queensland, Australia. And yeah, I'm here to just kind of share a bit of information about my career and, you know, my passion, and just kind of learn a bit from you guys as well. So I've put together like a fairly short PowerPoint. Are you happy for me to share that now?
Yes, please. You can share your screen now.
Sure. Just give me 1 second, sorry. All right. Can everyone see that okay?
Yes, we can see this.
So I've just put this together, very, very basic, but I thought what I'd do is just kind of run through sort of like how I got to where I am at the moment, and also like what I actually do and the importance of education in this field as well. So I was born down in South Australia, and pretty much from the get-go, I was a water baby, absolutely love the water, love the ocean, always had to be at the beach. And so from, a very young age, I knew that I wanted to do something with the water that involved wildlife. And, you know, gradually over time, marine biology was just a really perfect fit for me. So I was always down at the beach exploring rock pools, like every morning and afternoon before and after school. And, you know, gradually I picked up a camera, started to capture what I was seeing. And it just became like a really special thing for me. So decided to kind of pursue it as a career. So I attended Griffith University on the Gold Coast. I did a Bachelor of Science majoring in marine biology, which I think took me about 3.5 years to complete. After that, I did a bit of volunteering here and there for a few different organisations. And then after that, I applied for my job on Lady Elliot. So If anyone hasn't heard of Lady Elliot, I don't blame you because it's a very small island. It's the southernmost island on the Great Barrier Reef, so very small. And pretty much the only infrastructure there is the resort, which is what I worked through while I was there. And I still work with the company. During my 3.5 years there, I was offered to join a program called the Master Reef Guides, which is that main logo just there. And I was really lucky to be trained by some really incredible people from the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority, and then also a lot of scientists as well. So yeah, undertook like a big training school up on the northern Great Barrier Reef near Cairns and Lizard Island. Learned a whole bunch of surveying techniques and just learned a lot about the traditional owners of the country and the Great Barrier Reef as well, and about management. Through my 3.5 years on the island, I started off taking some pretty average photos. I've gradually gotten a bit better, and it's become essentially my job, which is fantastic for me. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of photography and videography work. I actually just got back from Fraser Island 2 days ago, doing some photography work there. And yeah, at the moment I'm doing an honours, so a year of thesis writing essentially on a chosen topic. So I'll show you some images of that shortly. I just wanted to point out with the Master Reef Guides, if anyone does travel to Australia and wants to see the Great Barrier Reef, I really strongly recommend that you go with an organisation that has a Master Reef Guide, because we've got quite extensive training and guiding and both knowledge on the condition of the reef. So it's very, very handy. And yeah, this also just kind of shows you guys where Lady Elliot is. So right down the bottom of the reef, and I'm currently just here. So just off to the side of Fraser Island at the moment. I wanted to share a little bit about the Great Barrier Reef itself, because, this is like what I talk about all the time. I get questions about it constantly. And the number one question is always, how is the health of the Great Barrier Reef? And that's a really, really hard question to answer, because it's not just one reef, it's over 3,000 individual reefs, coral cays, islands. So it's a huge mix. And what we've been seeing in the last, anywhere from 20 to 40 to 50 years is you might have one area that suffers quite bad impacts of climate change, for example, coral bleaching, right next to a reef that suffers no impact. So you might have one that's very damaged right next to one that's absolutely thriving. So it is really, really difficult to kind of summarize the condition. But yeah, it's an absolutely incredible place. I strongly, strongly recommend that everyone, gets over in and checks it out at some stage. And yeah, special mention to Lady Elliot Island. If you do get the opportunity to go there, it is phenomenal. So we've got turtles, sharks, manta rays, we've got heaps of bird life, and it's currently turtle mating season over here too. So yeah, pretty exciting time of year. I also just thought something that would be cool is to kind of share some of my experiences with everyone in this chat. So some of the things that I've been fortunate enough to see while I've been working out on the Great Barrier Reef. So on the left, I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with this ray, but it's an ornate eagle ray. So in the whole world, there's been less than 50 confirmed sightings of these rays, or that's the last I heard anyway. So they are incredibly rare and they're very, very beautiful. So I've been really lucky to actually see 3 of these rays while I've been out snorkeling. And yeah, we've learned that the pattern on the back of the ray is unique to each individual. So on the island, we're actually trying to develop a bit of a database of them so that we can track and monitor how many individuals we're seeing. This one is called Hachi for this little kind of spike on the back pattern just there. But we've seen at least 8 to 9 individuals, which, in the scheme of things, if there's less than 50 recorded in the whole world, seeing 9 is very, very significant. On the right, these are cow nose rays. So this was probably like one of my top 5 experiences. I was out snorkeling after work one day with a group of friends, And yeah, we're just kind of mucking around, doing somersaults in the water. The visibility wasn't great. So, you know, we just kind of weren't really doing much. And then, yeah, I just looked down all of a sudden and there was, you know, 80 to 100 of these cow nose rays. So that was absolutely incredible. There's not really too much known about cow nose rays, especially like these big aggregations of them. And a lot of the imagery is actually captured by drones. So pretty cool to see them in the water. This is just a shot of a black or melanistic manta ray. So out on Lady Elliot, we see some very interesting stuff, and we tend to get like a lot of rare or endangered species. On the east coast of Australia, we're looking at about 10 to 14% of the overall manta ray population being melanistic. So, you know, it's always it's a bit exciting to see one. So yeah, this was just an image that I captured late one afternoon. And I'm not sure if everyone knows with manta rays. Do you want me to like explain a little bit about manta rays?
If you want to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. So with manta rays, if we were to like, you know, theoretically grab this one and flip it over onto its back, you'd see that it's got a unique spot pattern on its belly, just, you know, similar to our fingerprints. So that's how we identify all of the individuals. So the resort works really closely with an organisation called Project Manta, and they've actually tried to identify all of the individuals on the east coast of Australia. Currently, I think we're sitting at about 1,400 individuals, of which 70% were sighted at Lady Elliot. So Lady Elliot really is like a bit of a hotspot for marine life, including these melanistic manta rays. If you do get the opportunity to interact with a manta ray, I always recommend just kind of staying really nice and calm in the water, because they are big animals, but they can be, you know, quite scared by rapid movement. They also don't have any teeth or stinging barbs, so there's really no harm they can cause you, which is nice. I'm not sure this is going to work, but I was just going to try and play a video that I captured. So during winter, we see a lot of manta rays around the island. And if you guys can hear the audio, we've also got humpback whales in the background there as well. So yeah, it's always really cool going out into the deeper water. That's filmed at about 16 meters deep, and that's a cleaning station. So lots of little fish just kind of hanging out on that station, waiting for the manta rays to come past so they can eat any dead skin or parasites off the manta rays. So we kind of think of it as like a day spa and a dentist all rolled into one. It's, you know, really beneficial for the manta rays. So yeah, I love this video. It's one of my favorites. If you look closely, we've actually got 2 melanistic manta rays just in this one group or fever. And there you can see the spot pattern really well. So all I'd do from this video is I just like take a screen grab and I'd send that screen grab off to Project Manta. They'd get back to me and they'd be able to identify which individual that is. They've also got a really cool kind of aspect to that, because if you are the first one to photograph a new manta ray, you get to name it. So everyone's always kind of on the lookout for new manta rays. And then I was just going to mention one of the other animals we see out on the reef pretty frequently are the hawksbill turtles. So unfortunately, they are critically endangered. There's a few studies kind of focusing on their reproduction and also the sex ratios in turtle hatchlings, because we are seeing, you know, a lot more females than males due to rising temperatures. And this is just a little clip of one that lives at the island that we call Chompy. As you can see, he's got a bit of a chunk out of the back right-hand side of his shell and his flipper. But sea turtles are very, very resilient, so he doesn't seem to really have, you know, any problems getting around with that injury. He's perfectly happy. And then I also just wanted to mention my current study. So like I mentioned, I'm at university doing an honours thesis, and this is my study species. So this is the epaulet shark, Hemicillium ocellatum, and these guys are found on the east coast of Australia. So what I'm trying to focus on is this region here in this photo on the left. Because what happened was I've spent a lot of time kind of at different places on the reef, and I went for a trip up to the Whitsundays, and I noticed that the individuals in the Whitsundays had quite a different spot pattern compared to the ones I was seeing in the southern reef. So I sent an image off to one of the researchers that I knew, and she was quite interested, and it's kind of turned into my honours thesis. So what I'm going to be doing over the next 8 months is I'll be kind of traveling up and down the east coast of Australia to different islands, taking photos of these sharks, and also taking a genetic sample as well, so that we can kind of look at the relatedness between them and the connectivity between them, see if we've got any isolated populations. But if you're not familiar with these sharks, they are pretty incredible because they're able to tolerate very low levels of oxygen. They're called the walking sharks because their fins are really muscular and they can actually walk out of the water. And people read that and they hear about sharks that can walk on land, and it sounds pretty terrifying, but these guys are pretty small, so maximum size about 107 centimeters. So yeah, they're really nothing to worry about. But yeah, very cute little sharks. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to kind of traveling and, you know, getting to know their different habitats and getting to recognize their different spot patterns. And yeah, just seeing what's going on, because the recognized number of species of these has gone from 5 to 9 in the last 14 years. So there's, you know, a lot of progress being made, which is really cool. And yeah, that was the slideshow that I put together for you guys. Yeah, so I just basically, I thought my role in this would just be helpful if I could explain, you know, what I'm passionate about and how I kind of, you know, followed that. And just that I think as well that it's really important to like take opportunities that present themselves to you and, you know, take a bit of a leap every now and then. And yeah, do you have any questions for me at all?
Okay, well, thank you, Jacinta, for the cool presentation. I am going to wait for people from the committee to send me some questions, and I will be saying it out loud to you and Cak Garonk. But yeah, maybe Cak Garonk or Jacinta, maybe you guys can share where your favorite dive site is and why. Maybe you can start from Cak Garonk first.
Okay. My favorite one, I think so far when I visit from the west to the east of Indonesia, I have an experience not in Morotai actually, in Biak, when I dived there in 2009 at that time, or 2011 at that time. I found that time is school of the pilot whales on Biak. My motorists say that it was not they were not pilot whale schooling. They say that it is a dolphin instead. But I insist that we need to get there. We need to get the schooling closer. And I just suddenly jump out of nowhere. I jump to the sea and then take some photographs. Yeah, that's very, very enchanting. So that moment, I think, rather than diving, I free dive with them at that time with the camera in mind. Until now, I never share that picture to anyone because I feel that this is intrinsic. This is for my value. It cannot be described. Just 40 pilot whales surrounding my boat, something like it's personal experience. I can say maybe that one. Janis. Thank
Okay,
you.
that sounds so cool. Pilot whales. Okay, what about you, Jacinta? What's your favorite dive experience or dive site? Yeah.
I haven't been lucky enough to head overseas diving or free diving, so it's all just been within Australia at this stage. I was really lucky to actually encounter a pretty large tiger shark early one morning in about 3 meters of water. So that was quite interesting. I had like my big camera housing and I was fiddling with some buttons and I looked up and it was, only, I don't know, 5 to 10 meters away from me. So that was interesting. I've also been really lucky to, snorkel with a humpback mum and calf, and the calf was really curious and it was breaching and, just kind of swimming around our group. And then I was guiding a tour one day and we had a great white turn up on the tour, which was pretty crazy. So we'd snorkeled with whales, we'd snorkeled with a pot of dolphins. And then, we think the great white was just kind of interested by all the commotion and the people kind of splashing around in the water. And we think it was like a 4 meter great white just on the surface of the water, just kind of cruising around.
That is so cool. Oh, I'm so jealous. Okay, so I've got some questions now, and I have a question for Garonk from Fernando Silaban. Since sharks are in the same area, do they fight over food resources? If they do fill the same niche, thank you. Maybe Garonk can answer, and if you can turn on your camera.
Okay. I don't know. It's difficult. What the specific question of the description just read by you. Can you specifically point the question at that?
Yeah. So like he's asking, Fernando is asking whether different shark species who live within the same area, do they fight over food resources?
Okay, so Tim, in Morotai, when I was dive for the first time in 2009, I believe, 2009 to 2012 at that time. Twice I dove there before I set up my dive center there. So the first ones, there are no shark at that time, and the second ones there we saw the shark of there, and 3 species of shark: gray reef shark, Trianodon obesus or white tip shark, and the last one, and we always saw here, is the black tip reef shark. I don't know what happened on that area, but across the time that the Trianodon obesus and gray reef shark suddenly become rarer and rarer, and in recent years we have difficulty to show them. We have difficulty to show the gray reef shark and white tip reef shark. So we have a concern here, maybe because if we have to dive in the more remote area, we still have so this shark, gray reef shark and white tip reef shark. Our we set up brood in other area just recently, couch the gray reef shark. Gray reef shark still there, but they are in the deeper and deeper, maybe 30 meters or something from the roof, and the white tip is more shallower. So this is maybe related with the depth of the sea, because of the time when I first saw 3 of the species. It is in the 18 to 22 meter depth. So right now our shark diving area is just between 17 to 20. So shallower than the first time we saw 3 species. Maybe there are possibility that they are in the same area, and it's so in Bahama, in Maldives, in Fiji, even they are congregate in the same area. They consider as their habitat is same, something like that.
Okay, thank you for the explanation, Garonk. Yeah, but do you think that they fight over food resources? Like, do they fight over the same thing?
They have normally different diets. They have normally different diets. Why we have this argument? Because if we one time we release a proof with the different kind of food, yeah, with different of kind of fish species, and it attracts different species of shark as well. So this is not the scientifically proven just yet, because we still in the research, but we want to have some argument to claim that they have a different very different diet. So we need to have some more time, maybe 1 year or 2 years, to have a conclusion on this. So we still have a research on it with the proof, of course. So we hope that we have more explanation that they have different diets between species.
Yeah, we still need more research on that. Yeah. Okay. So another. So I have a question for Jacinta. Why do you think? How do you think images and videos, or maybe Garonk can also answer this after Jacinta. Why do you think, and how do you think images and videos can help shark conservation or marine conservation in general? Like how can they help, and how can we help as people who snorkel or dive with them using our pictures, using just our cameras?
So there's a few, like, I'd say there's a few parts to this. Firstly, I think that sharing like content and sharing images of sharks and the marine life that we're snorkeling with, number one, it can be really inspiring for people, and it can really, like, you know, give them a bit of drive to actually go out there and experience that themselves. Number two, other than inspiration, is it takes the fear away for a lot of people. Like, you know, I still daily deal with people that are absolutely terrified of sharks. You know, they're too scared to get in the water because they're so worried that they're going to run into a shark. And when you talk to them about it, you ask, like, why, like, where has this fear come from? The vast majority of the time, it's films, it's the media kind of working up, you know, all these stories. But it's mainly things like Jaws, you know, like all this stuff that just blows everything so out of proportion. And it really, you know, it just kind of tells these animals as something that they're not, you know, like it's. So when I share my images and my videos, you know, people look at them and they say, oh, like, you're so close to that. Like, how are you so close to it? You must have been absolutely terrified. And I can then connect with those people and I can say, no, like, you know, this is only a white tip reef shark or a black tip reef shark. These animals aren't dangerous. They're, you know, really chilled out. It's great to be up nice and close to them. And even when I had that interaction with that big tiger shark, you know, like that, you know, as far as I could see, that posed no threat to me. It was just very nice and calm, and it kind of chilled a lot of people out, you know. It kind of made them think like, wow, I can look at that animal and I can respect it and see how beautiful it is, and see that it, you know, she's just snorkeled 5 meters from a tiger shark and she didn't get eaten, you know. So yeah, like that's really important. I hear from a lot of people that, you know, my content helps them to, like, destigmatize this sort of stuff and just, yeah, like calms them down and makes them really want to get out there and see it for themselves. So I think my role is kind of in person. When I'm out working on the island, I'm trying to educate face to face. And then when I get home, I can jump on my social media and I can share all this stuff and I can reach an audience that I wouldn't otherwise be able to reach. So yeah, I think those are some benefits.
Well, yeah, I believe in that too, how social media especially can help destigmatize the scary things people talk about sharks and the ocean, and we can actually be an advocate to the ocean as well. How about Cak Garonk? What do you think? How do you think our pictures, our videos can help marine conservation better?
I think we have a we should have a different perspective on our country as well, because we already achieved as a bad achievement, I think, as the #1 shark catchers in the world. So by slowly interact with the fishermen that catch the shark, maybe it's beneficial in my opinion. We cannot just change the world with the good video, with the image we create, but we can more realistically can change their life, the fishermen, by came to them, embrace them. What I supposed to do when I create the shark diving Indonesia is I want one of the shark catcher in that area at that time and fish bomber at that time to become my motorist, something like that. So this is the actual or realization that what we dream about the conservation. We need to change Indonesia from the #1 shark catcher to become #1 maybe shark tourism. Of course, there are progress that may disrupt the environment as well, but we need to learn about that during the way. But I think make the video on the shark is really helpful on the intrinsic part, which is the calmness, the comfortness to meet with them. Also, we need to create other videography with the reality. The reality is we are the #1 shark catcher. So this is maybe not so many and maybe gruesome for some person, but we need to give this reality. Let's help them. They are trapped in the very unhealthy business environment in Indonesia, which is occupied by tengkulak. Tengkulak is I don't know, it is a middleman that create everything, take benefit from them or something like that. We need to help them. We need to help the people living or depending on the shark catchers, something like that. So I eager the young generation as student here also go there, interact with them, talk with them. As I agree with Jacinta, one face-to-face discussion is more meaningful rather than in the social media. I agree with Jacinta that that's the things that we need to use. So every time I go to remote area in Indonesia, I need to know who's the one that catch the shark. I need to discuss with them something like that to see their perspective. Maybe they are not lucky as us because we have money. I have money to buy this eyeglass. They don't have. They don't have a chance. They don't have a chance rather than kill the shark, something like that. We need to help them. We don't need to blame them every time we blame them and blame them. No, we need to interact with them, give your money to them, but with the perspective that this money will be positively invested in their life, something like that. Or give the education for their children, enroll their children to the marine science faculty or something like that. It will change the view of their parents, something like that, I believe. So to make a change, interact. We cannot separate by the reality that we are stay in the big city with the huge money. They stay in the remote area with the less money, something like that. So we need to do something. involve them in our conservation idea, something like that.
Okay, so thank you, Cak Garonk, for the explanation. Yeah, I also think it depends on the target audience you want to approach, because obviously with social media, we approach different audiences with those in the villages. And I know an example is one of my friend who works at Treasure Shark Indonesia. He just managed to did a big change where he got a few treasure shark fishers to give their hooks, and they actually managed to find another source of income. So I think it's a slow progress, but it's possible. Okay, so now I have another question. Have anyone ever captured the movement patterns of shark while interacting with scuba divers? Both for Cak Garonk and Jacinta, or how did you observe these sharks when they are interacting with you? Are there any weird or different observations? Maybe we can start with Jacinta to answer the question.
So the majority of my shark interactions, actually, yeah, pretty much all of them have been while I've been snorkeling. You know, I'm fortunate to live in an area where it's so common to see sharks. You know, I'll jump in and I'll go for a snorkel for 20 minutes. And if I don't see at least 2 sharks, I'm very, very surprised. Behavior is pretty much always quite calm and relaxed. Yeah, I can't say I've really had many sharks that have been like curious and have actually approached me, other than that really close interaction with that tiger shark. But I have had 2 really strange interactions with grey reef sharks. So the first one, I was just kind of snorkeling along and I looked down and there was a grey reef shark with a large gash on its back. Where I live and snorkel, it's a green zone. So we have very, very little boat activity. So I really didn't think that it was a human caused injury. Like, I don't think it had come from a boat. I think it had been caused by a bigger shark or another predator. But anyway, I swam down to try and film the injury because I was quite interested. And each time I swam down to this shark, it would swim straight upwards. And it was just quite strange. Every time I swam down, it would speed up and it would try and turn and look at me. And I assumed that when that was happening, you know, I actually sent the footage to a few different shark scientists because I was really interested as to what was happening. No one could really tell me. Someone said it looked like it was a cleaning behavior, but my take on it was that because the shark had an injury, it felt more vulnerable and it was just really keeping an eye on me to make sure that I wasn't going to attack it. So yeah, I had that happen twice. And the third time, which is really sad, is we came across a grey reef shark with the rim of a bucket actually stuck around its head. And it was so distressed. You know, we thought, oh, like, what's very small chance we'll actually be able to help it because, you know, it's a shark. And every time we tried to get close to it, it would just shoot off. Twice it actually leaped clear of the water. So yeah, each time I've seen a shark that's been injured, they do seem to act quite differently. I've seen a few sharks feeding at dawn and dusk. That's awesome, really cool, like white tip and black tip reef sharks just kind of trying to get under coral bommies and work together. And yeah, that's my main comment on shark behavior that I've witnessed or like interacted with.
Yeah, that's really cool. How about Cak Garonk? What do you think? And do you think there are already some studies on movement patterns or behaviors of sharks with tourists or snorkelers?
Of course, there are some behavior that's shown by the shark since 50, when the American military or Navy has a laboratory in Hawaii. They are trying to reset the shark. They have many shark species in their aquarium, and they have some what we call it is experiments on them regarding their aggressive behavior. but it's very early at that time. The knowledge and the camera at that time is not really fast, the technology of them. So in 70s, Dr. Nelson has also experiment to reset the gray reef shark. They have some conclusion that gray reef shark pose some agonistic behavior or aggressive behavior towards diver when they enter the area or their habitat, something like that. They have maybe Nelson proposed 4 or 5 agonistic behavior posture at that time, but the huge work is showed by Martin in 90s. They have approximately 28 behavior posture that's shown by the shark when interact with diver, something like that. And my research in Maluku, in Morotai, we saw that 30 agonistic behavior of the shark. But this behavior is not showed at the same time. Sometimes they only showed maybe 9 of them, 7 of them, or maybe not at all. So when they are feel calm, feel comfortable in the area, they never show the agonistic behavior. So it depends on how our interaction with them. We also have a reset using the magnetic, something like that. What the effect of magnet to their behavior? What the effect of the mirror? We have some reset in 2018. We bring the mirror to the shark and then see what the difference with if they have saw their own in the mirror or something like that, and we have a conclusion that they cannot recognize themselves. So pretty much different with the high degree mammals like chimpanzee or gorilla. When they know that they are in the mirror, but the shark and manta ray, another researchers in another area, conclude that elasmobranchs may not recognize themselves when they face in the mirror. So this is also our research to know the behavior. But I just say that in conclusion, it depends on our interaction with them. But most likely, I agree with Jacinta. Most likely, they are calm. They're not post the aggressive behavior in most of time. So I consider the diving with shark is depends on the safety precaution, but it's safely to do. It's safely to do. But we need to understand that the professional working with the shark diving, like the guides or the manager, have ethics code of conduct when they have interaction. This is the most important thing. We have to have code of conduct when we have diving in Morotai. We need the participant to put the sign there that we follow your code of conduct. Never touch the shark, never give the food to the shark, something like that. So we have the very comprehensive code of conduct, need to be signed by the diver or the participant of shark diving, something like that. That's most important. So albeit we are in professional, we need to know that the people that diving with shark follow the good ethics of shark diving, something like that.
Okay, thank you for the explanation, Cak Garonk and Jacinta. Okay, now we are going to move to questions for those who have raised their hands. We have Maria Friska. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, can you?
Yeah, thank you, Janis. I would like to thank the speakers, both of them, but I would like to also, I'm not going to ask questions, but I just want to say a few things for Cak Garonk especially. And maybe we have to implement more and raise awareness about the sea sustainability. Also, the subject of astronomical climate forcing and time scales might also be learned as the world's climate is decreasing. And we have to be more synergic and innovative from various aspects, not only on marine biology, but some closely related ones, such as the law of the ocean. I mean, the UNCLOS. We have to remember that in order to reach the sea sustainability point, like I said before. But also, let's try to work together with more people from more related fields in order to achieve a better marine biology world holistically. Also, we have to implement more data explorations, I mean the real-time data, and we should be more actively taken the data, as we haven't much explored the marine life in the eastern part of Indonesia. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Maria, for the input. Garonk, do you have any thing you want to say to Maria before I continue with other questions?
Yeah, there's a concept of young generation like Maria is always good, of course, because if the young generation concern about the nature, concern about our relation with the nature, it's good for us. We should also remember that we are living the only single Earth as by now, until Elon Musk landing in Mars, maybe. But yeah, the concern of the impact of the astronomical universe to the Earth is just we can draw from the Galileo, of course, and in the 18th century by Ademar, the scientist from France, and then followed by Malinkovic, as mentioned by Maria Friska, of course, that they put the foundation for the global warming or global effect on our Earth, something like that. So it is very positive if we can collaborate between the parties, between scientists, between diver and scientists, and so on. So we need to stay together. We need to collaborate together to have a good impact to our environment and conservation as we dream about to conserve the Earth for the next generation, of course. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Garonk, for the explanation. I mean, I think it's obvious that research alone cannot change the world. We need a lot of different parties involved, including law and social economic as well. So some other questions this is actually pretty interesting, I think, for both Jacinta and Garonk, is how does one become a shark researcher or marine researcher in general? And for Garonk especially, what species of shark in Indonesia needs more research done? Maybe you can start with Jacinta first. How can we start to be a marine researcher?
So yeah, I just kind of went straight into my undergrad. That didn't really take much. I just had to make sure that I had a good score coming out of high school. And yeah, as for my honors, where I am specifically studying sharks, number one was it took for me to have an interest in it. So when I approached these scientists and I said, look, here's a topic that I'm really interested in, and you know, I kind of said, what topic would you like me to study? It was like an easy choice for both of us, because that was already an area that, number one, I had experience in, and number two, I was really interested in. And one of my supervisors, she's actually been like involved very involved in naming the two most recent species of the epaulet sharks. So yeah, I just kind of lucked out. It was a combination of being really passionate, but then also making sure that these researchers like knew me and I could communicate with them. And also, you know, it's been really good because my university campus is 10 minutes down the road with my supervisor there. So yeah, that's kind of how it worked for me.
Cool. What about Garonk?
I owe Jacinta closeness to the campus, only 10 minutes to the sea. I could not imagine it happen in Indonesia, even for the University of Patimura that lies on the brink of the beach in Ambon. It's need time to go to the port, jump to the sea, and then do some research. So lucky you. But yes, we have to start in the species that we have abundant of it. So I can say that in Indonesia, there are two species that are really abundant. The first one is Rhizoprionodon in Java area, in the close to Java area sometimes. So they are the most catches shark in this area at this time. So this is the need to be research further about the why the people eating the fin of that shark or something like that, why they are abandoned even though it's already catch in the daily basis, maybe more than 1,000 tons. So this is something that we need to know. Before we lost them, before we only saw them in the books as the extinct marine creature, something like that. The second one is the endemic one. So we're happy that in Maluku, especially in Halmahera, we had endemic species, Hemicillium halmahera, or we can see as Halmahera walking shark. They are really abundant. This is guarantee 100%. You go there are Hemicillium halmahera on Halmahera and Ternate, Tidore, and even in Morotai. So rather than stay in the fish market doing research in the fish market, but it is closed, of course. But go there, go to the Halmahera. They are abundant to be researched. I have one paper on Hemicillium halmahera about the tonic immobility of the Hemicillium halmahera. Just I hypnotized the Hemicillium halmahera just to as the methodology to get the data from their length, from their meristic or morphometric of the Hemicillium halmahera, rather than doing some catchers that can kill them. We can apply the hypnotized method. So we hypnotize the shark while they are in the state of epileptic or hypnotized period. We can do some meristic and morphometric on them. So this is the proposed method for the research on the Hemicillium halmahera. But you can also have the behavioral research on Hemicillium halmahera. Yutan from the Patimura University doing a lot of research on Hemicillium halmahera. Also recently in one Dr. Beginner Subhan in IPB also got so many DNA specimen from Hemicillium halmahera. So we still have a lot of area that we have a blind spot on it. So there are no chance we don't have a topic for research. There are a lot. We need to open our mind. Just that's the sum.
Okay, thank you, Cak Garonk, for the explanation. So I guess in general, if you want to be a marine researcher, firstly, you need to have a genuine interest in ocean. And obviously you need to like field work, because there's a lot of field work involving, but also lab work, I suppose, depending on what you want to research about. Okay, so now we have someone who raised their hand again. So I'm going to unmute you and you can ask your question.
Yeah, thank you for the chance. I have a question regarding about ocean acidification. As we all know, shellfishes and coral reefs are greatly affected by ocean acidification. So I'm asking about how about marine megafauna such as sharks and rays, how ocean acidification affect them? Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for the question. Maybe we could have Jacinta to respond to the question, and then we have Cak Garonk afterwards.
Yeah, I don't know how much information I can add to this personally, because, you know, what I was educating people on was essentially just kind of that level of understanding that, you know, ocean acidification is happening. It's going to be really detrimental to a lot of the, like, you know, benthic animals that, you know, create shells. And in terms of some of the bigger megafauna as well, yes, I know they've predicted there's going to be quite a few problems with like plankton availability for things like whale sharks and manta rays. But yeah, that's that's pretty much the extent that I'd say anything, because I don't feel as though I know enough about the topic.
Yeah. And Cak Garonk, if you want to add anything.
Global warming and ocean acidification is something that we need to know the relation between all knowledge, not only the marine science. It's also connect with the engineering, also connect with the politics, culture, and everything. Is much complex idea about that one. So during this pandemic, I can only say during this pandemic that we have a research on shark behavior, we have a research on shark diet during the pandemic era, which is right now is almost 2 years, right? It's almost 2 years. We have this kind of the shutdown of all diving activity. Maybe not all, but most of diving activity is already shut down during this. We saw the resilience of the ocean. So rather than we thinking about only the sad part of the global warming, we also saw the resiliency of the ocean. We have a data that the coral cover is increasing right now, in at least in Morotai, at least in certain area is increasing. So yeah, of course there are impact for many activities on the sea during that period, but we cannot conclude just by that. As I agree with the Jacinta, I'm not expert myself in global warming, but yeah, it is rather is quite complex idea to see that. And we can share with you that during the era of the very severe global ocean acidification, we feel in Morotai that is not too much impact by that acidification. So it is rather than it is a very global event. I read the one paper in 2020. It said that it might not global event. It might not only some single event in the several part, because in other area it's not happen. So still growing knowledge on this, and I cannot conclude that this is the something that we need to really worry about that one. Yes, it happened, but normally it's periodic also, not happen every time. Sometimes it's only 2 years, and after that it's growing again, and sometimes happens again, something like it's like a cyclic event, something like that, rather than the continuous event acidification. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Cak Garonk, for the explanation. I think I can add a little bit from what I know personally, because I am researching on manta rays as well. Is that acidification can change the pH of our ocean temperature. So like what Jacinta mentioned, is that the changes of water quality can affect greatly on our planktons, where planktons is the source of life in our ocean, and it's a huge food source for filter feeders such as basking sharks, whale sharks, and manta rays. So it might not directly but indirectly influence maybe their reproductive growth, their food intake. So it's a lot of things to research about, which we don't have a lot of research on it. So again, it takes more research to do. There's a lot of things that we don't know yet. Okay, now I have some other questions. Okay, how to educate beginner divers who want to dive, as sometimes many of them destroy underwater destination. So maybe you can have Jacinta to answer this first, as you are, just so you have answer this one first.
Yeah, it's difficult. So working in ecotourism, like I've met a lot of people from different places, different nationalities, and often we do have that like substantial language barrier, and that can be really difficult. So I find that imagery is really important to use there, just showing people pictures of do's and don'ts. And yeah, also, just making sure that your dive instructors are including that sort of information about, it's really important not to grab onto a piece of coral, to hold yourself nice and steady, similar things to that. We personally had a lot of problems with people actually walking on the structure of the reef itself, because people just couldn't quite understand. And, you know, I get it. It's hard to understand that coral is a living thing. And, you know, they just kind of saw it as a dead rock. And so, you know, every day we're trying to get the message across that it's really important that you don't step on that, because number one, yes, it's alive, but number two, it's also supporting like a whole nother array of organisms that you can't even see. So yeah, that's it takes a while. When I was like 12 years old, I went for a trip off of Cairns, because, you know, in Australia, everyone thinks, oh yeah, the Great Barrier Reef, it's Cairns and that's it, when in fact it's over 2,000 kilometers long. So my family took me to a destination called Green Island, and we went there, and, you know, my mind was absolutely blown. That was my first trip ever to the Great Barrier Reef. And, you know, great. The reef was in really nice condition that, you know, back then. But you know, at the end of the trip, I saw a tourist actually pick up a blue Linkia starfish, put it on a Frisbee, put it on the surface of the water and try to dry it out so that it wasn't wet anymore, so that he could take it home as a souvenir. And that was really sad to watch someone get on the boat with a starfish they'd taken off the reef. And you could just see that the education just wasn't there. Like, he just hadn't understood, or he hadn't been told that that is a living animal. It's not just a thing. So yeah, it's really important. Like, and that this comes back to the Master Reef Guides network again. Like, go with these established companies that have great people that can really get through to all of the guests, and, you know, that are multilingual as well. It's really important that, you know, if you don't speak the language, at least you can show them images of do's and don'ts. Yeah, that's kind of how I'd explain it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. A lot of visual work, yeah, when you can't really communicate to the other person. Okay, what about Cak Garonk? What do you think? How should we deal or teach people who not I don't think it's all necessarily beginner divers, because I've seen a lot of professional divers who still kind of wreck the dive, whether they harass the animals. So I don't think it's just for beginners, but how do you educate? How can we educate just all kinds of divers not to harass and not to destroy the dive sites and the animals in there?
Of course, there are some, every dive agency like PEDI, SSR, right, and so on, NAUI, and so on. So they have the certain curriculum in their teaching technique that we need to fall in love with the ocean, of course, because the diver is the agent for the conservation as well. So it's not about the lack of the education. It's about the how to change the perception of the people, because maybe how could the training or the study only packed in one or in 1 week or something like that can change their culture. It might not happen, because it came from the culture, from the interaction before they took dive course of something like that. So it is, rather than only put them in the educational or just having hampered by the viral or the social media punishment or something like that, it might not hamper them at all. But the one that we can hope is to the young generation, as I always mention this, go to the area where the fishermen living directly with the ocean, teach their children, give their children, for example, your GoPro. You can maybe not give them as a gift, but ask them to have a daily picture of their ocean, something like that. But it need to be in the structured way. Right now, I always show that the campaign of the citizen science only happened once, not two, not three. After 1 year, it's gone. So we need to have in the very structured way that every day, maybe in 5 years, when they are growing, when the children is growing to become a man or a woman, they have the knowledge. They have what we call it is conscience in their mind that they have to be a conservationist by themselves, something like that. So it needs to be consistent. So rather than only one moment or 1 year only, maybe we need to carry them 5 years at least to have an impact on their environment. By doing that, I believe that the campaigners or the young generation that love marine or ocean is growing, something like that. So again, next time. So rather than only one punishment in the viral, yes, it can go like that. They will be punished, of course. The Indonesian netizen is very aggressive, right? You know, so they will punish by themselves, yes. But other than that, we need to be real. It's not real. It's only digital way, yes. But we should go there. We should go to the field. The truth is out there. Not the truth is in the social media, but the truth is out there. We need to go there. Something like that.
Okay, thank you, Garonk. So basically, from Jacinta, for when we want to interact with other guests, if you guys are guides or if you guys are actually snorkeling with a group and there are someone who is lost in translation, doesn't know the code of conduct, it's always best to use visual posters to tell people how to interact with animals. And from Garonk is that we need to build a sense of awareness for the ocean from younger generations, so that even if we are, very professional, if we are instructors or we've had like 3,000 dive logs, is that we are able to still care about the ocean and not harass the animals as well. So the last question is actually for Jacinta, is what makes Great Barrier Reef, the ecosystem, unique than other coral reef ecosystems in the world?
It's hard for me to say exactly because I haven't got to experience those other reef systems yet. I really, really hope that I do get to. We are fortunate enough to have 6 of the 7 species of marine turtle in the world, and we've got 133 different species of sharks and rays. There's over 400 different species of coral. There's a whole range of different types of ecosystems as well. And like I mentioned before, like the huge diversity of reefs and islands and just like a really wide range of different kind of habitats. Just from like what I've seen personally, I can be up on a fringing reef and just kind of exploring like the drop off, or you could go down to one of the islands on the Southern Great Barrier Reef. You can watch turtle hatchlings run down the beach. I find that no matter what time of year, there's always something happening on the Great Barrier Reef as well. There's always some migration underway, or breeding season, or mating season. It's just a very, very special place. It's a very special resource. And we're lucky that we do have a really well managed marine park as well, with a lot of different tourism operators that you can choose between to go and visit it.
Cool. Hopefully we get to visit the Great Barrier Reef soon. Okay, so that is the end of the Q&A session. So before I give this back to the MC, can everyone turn on their camera so we can have a little photo session? Maybe the operator can tell us if you already take a picture. Turn on your cameras, everyone. Smile for the camera. Maybe we can do like a shark sign, or like a mola sign, or mantas. Sharks. Can the operator tell me if we have done the picture?
Okay, wait. I will wait. Counting. So everyone, turn on your camera. Okay. You have to select. In 1, 2, 3. Okay, slide 2.
Okay, so this is whale sharks. If you put your W here, this means whale shark, I think. I've never seen one, but
Slide 2, nggak ada yang on cam.
okay. I guess that's it, yeah. Okay,
One
so
more.
oh, one more.
One more
One
slide.
more. Okay. Molas? Anybody seen molas? I saw my first mola 2 weeks ago. It was really great. Mola sign.
Okay. In 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for our guest speakers for coming to the platform. And now I return this platform back to our MC, Maureen.
All right, thank you so much, Janis. I would like to thank Janis for helping us during the discussion. You're leading us so well, so we could understand well where the discussion go. And we also would like to thank Garonk and Jacinta for answering all the curiosity of today's topic. The presentation, all the discussion is very insightful for us, and I hope we could learn something. And absolutely, for all the participants who join into this activity, I would like to thank you all so much. We OSEANIK hope you could know and learn something from this event that will expand your knowledge and experience later on. All right. We met the end of the activity, so it is such an honor for me to accompany you today. I beg you a big apology if there's any mistake that comes from me, and I would like to remind you all again that there will be a door prize for the participants who shared the excitement of today's activity on your Instagram. Don't forget to tag OSEANIK's Instagram at OSEANIK, and then Shark Diving Indonesia at Shark Diving Indonesia, and also tag at Jacinta Shackleton. And for the participants who give a best or a great question and discussion would also have a chance to win a door prize. All right, don't forget to follow OSEANIK Instagram at OSEANIK. Don't forget to follow Shark Diving Indonesia Instagram at Shark Diving Indonesia. And don't forget to follow at Jacinta Shackleton. And maybe Janis Instagram also. I don't know what's your ad.
I think you guys mentioned it on the OSEANIK Instagram.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for all the participants who joined our today's exciting activity. Yeah, I am Morena Zahra as the Master of Ceremony and part of OSEANIK. We'll look forward to seeing you at the next year's event. See you soon. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Garonk. Thank you so much, Jacinta. Thank you so much, Janis. You're so beautiful, by the way. Don't forget to follow OSEANIK Instagram.